What's up, everyone? We are super excited to have Dr. Tron Young on the My K-12 Career Show to share his story and his journey with our viewers and our listeners. Dr. Young is from the great state of Illinois. He lives in O'Fallon, Illinois, which truthfully is not that far from St. Louis, Missouri. So
Right.
We are super excited to have him on the show, a fellow Midwesterner. And he's a middle school principal. He's doing a lot of great things. He has his own podcast. So we're going to get in a lot of great things during this interview. So Dr. Young, can you please share what's going on in your life and in your K-12 career right now?
Man, in my K-12 career, we are moving and shaking. I'm a middle school person at heart. I've been in middle school most of my career. I was an elementary principal for 1 year and realized I love the little ones, but my jam, my ministry, my work is at that middle school level. And so we are moving and shaking here in O'Fallon, making a difference in the lives of kids, man, and just trying to inspire others, right? Trying to uplift a career, uplift our profession, letting people know of the amazing things and opportunities you have as an educator, but more importantly, making kids tomorrow brighter than they are today. That's our end goal.
That's super powerful. So have you always wanted to be a K-12 educator? Did you choose education or did education choose you?
That's so funny because growing up around my middle school years, I either wanted to be a lawyer or a teacher. Okay. Wanted to be a teacher because of my fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Judy Truitt. Anybody who've heard anything about me or know anything, I talk about her a lot. She's my mother. She's my best friend. She's my mentor who really inspired me. But going into high school, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And then this is how minute of a detail it was. I was like, you know what? I want to be a teacher because I can't be a lawyer and ever defend someone who I thought was wrong. So I want to be a teacher and help people that I know that hasn't already made a wrong decision, right? That to help them from making those wrong decisions. So that was my thinking. And then as I got in high school, I loved math. I took a couple of accounting classes and really thought about that.
Okay.
But I was never exposed to it. So I didn't know anything about it except, hey, I like this accounting class. I like account receivable, payable, all this other good stuff. But I never knew of anything as a career. And the teacher tried to talk to me, but it was just like, I never seen it. So I couldn't even imagine doing anything different. Now that I know what I know and I am what I am, I'm like, man, could life have been different? But I truly believe, you asked, I believe this is the ministry I've been called into. This is the work that I truly have been called into to do every day. And like I said, I grew it as my ministry, right? It's not just a job. It's truly impacting lives.
That's powerful. I love that word ministry because truthfully, that's how I look at this as well. I've been doing this 29 years at this point, and I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life. You know, they say if you find something you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I just feel like it's a blessing every day to go in and to pour in the lives not only of my young people, but also the staff as well. So my next question would be, are you from O'Fallon, Illinois?
I'm not. I'm actually from Illinois, but I'm a town an hour east of here called Centralia, Illinois. Born and raised there. Started my teaching career there, actually. But Centralia, Illinois, it is the home of the orphans and the orphan Annies, America's winningest boys high school basketball team in the nation.
Wow. Okay.
But no, so that's my hometown. It was a small community, predominantly white community.
Okay.
But was definitely invested into that community, which is what made me want to go back to give back. I went back there for 13. I was back there, I think 13 years.
Wow.
As an educator, went back home to teach. So yeah, and I actually started working with some teachers that were my teacher and became building principal at the school that I went at over people that were my teachers.
That is super cool. That's really
it's crazy,
cool.
Right? And you talk about leadership and like the challenge of leadership and character and development and like who you were compared to who you can be.
Sure.
It's crazy just to think about that.
That's a powerful testimony, 100%. So how long did you teach before you got into administration?
7 years. So 7 years, was teaching for 7 and was not looking to get into administration, to be very honest. I had gotten my degree after teaching for 4 years, started my admin degree, and it's because the university had a cohort at my school. So it was like, hey, might as well do
Right
it.
here. Yeah.
Move over in the pay scale. Who knows where life will lead me? And I was a teacher leader. And so I became, in the midst of that, became like our union president, negotiated the teacher contract, did all
Okay.
that other good stuff. And my superintendent was like, hey, I want you on my admin team. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I love my classroom. I love my four walls. I control that wall. Like, we had a good time in my class. We would sing and dance, learning math, and like scores were increasing. And an opportunity came for an elementary building, which was, at that time, it was the elementary building that like leader had been there for 20 something years as a teacher and a leader. And it was a school that I went to school at as an elementary person as well.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. And my mentor, my mother, Mrs. Stewart, just like, let's weigh the pros and cons. And I'm a big list person. So I was like, okay, what's the pros?
Yeah.
What's the cons? And it was like, hey, try it. If you don't like it, you can always go back into the classroom.
That's true.
And I was like, all right. And after the first year, I absolutely hated it.
Okay.
And because, and I tell this to people all the time, because going into administration and still looking at it from a lens of a teacher, you have those quick victories where you see that aha moment of the kid. You have that lesson that you taught and the kids show that they learn and you get that assessment, the test. Whereas in administration, it's visionary, not current. So you have to have a vision for where you want to go to build those benchmarks out, that it's the long game and not the short game that you're looking for. And I did not realize that. And once I came to understanding that you have to have a vision for where you want to go and make that roadmap for that and where you're leading, it changed how I looked at it, right? Instead of looking at it just those four walls and my thing, I had to look at the entire yearbook, right? I had to look at the front cover, every classroom, every teacher, every baby, the back cover, like in that aspect of it. And so once I realized that, it changed my framework and I started loving what I'm doing and creating an environment for kids to thrive. And
that's awesome. That's really cool. So how long have you been an administrator?
So I have been in administration. This is year 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
So more years as an administrator at this point than you were as a teacher. Wow. That's pretty cool. So 18 years total so far.
18 years total. Yes.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, I want to thank you for your service. One of the reasons why I started this show is to celebrate educators and leaders like yourself that are doing this amazing, important work in all of our communities across the U.S. and the world. You know, I believe, and I'm sure you believe the same, Dr. Young, that the K-12 profession is the greatest profession in the world. We're the profession that make all other professions possible, right?
Yes, sir.
So, man, I really appreciate all the work you've done. And I truthfully, this is the reason why I started this show, because I don't feel like we get enough respect for the work that we do. I don't care what profession a young person ultimately chooses for their adult life. I'm guaranteeing you they had a teacher, a counselor, administrator, someone in the school system that had a positive impact on their life. How do you feel about that? You feel the same way?
Man, I totally agree. So I do a little speaking and all the other good stuff. And anytime I can go in front of kids, teachers, administrators, I do a little activity with them about the impact of an educator.
Sure.
And I ask simple questions like, okay, so name the top downloaded song in 2020, right? Name the top grossing movie in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Name who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009, right? People, my boy, but they don't, like, people don't know, right? They don't remember those things. And I say, all right, raise your hand if you know who your first grade teacher was. Raise your hand if you know who your fifth grade teacher was.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you know of a mentor who impacted your life.
Yeah.
So the person that makes the difference, right, that you think about, the things that you think are so important, the song that you want to listen to, all that is not what really matters. But as an educator, it matters who you are to those kids and the impact you have, because that memory, because every time then I'm like, okay, so who had a memory that was jogged about that person, right? Like, and that's what we do, right? We plant seeds that, if nurtured and watered and really spoke life into, that develops into whatever is possible, right? Whatever that heart desire, we're planting those seeds to allow that to happen. And so that's what I talk to them about. Like, that's what we do.
No, that's super powerful. And I love that seed analogy, because I always like to say that in a lot of ways, as educators, we're like farmers, right? We plant a seed, we nurture it, we fertilize it, and we might not, if we only are, with those students for a year, we might not see the actual harvest. But in your case, it's so amazing because you actually shared that you went back to the very school that you used to go to. And so I'm sure that there was a lot of just nostalgia and gratitude for your teachers to see what you had actually become, you know what I mean, from the time you were a child until the time you were an adult. So that's really powerful, man. Another question I had for you too was like, man, first of all, you don't even look old enough to have been doing this for almost 20 years. I'll say that 100%. But also, you've been doing this a long time and you do have your doctorate degree, and it sounds like you got a lot of great things going on above and beyond just being a school principal. Do you ever see yourself going to the district level?
That's such a hard question.
Yeah.
And here's what I would say. I say no.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. Because seeing that level from a teacher leader, negotiating a contract, being an admin person and having that and working with my current superintendent, I've had a couple opportunities arise, but like at this stage, I can't see myself that far removed from kids.
Okay, that's fair.
I know the different level that you can have on the educational system as a whole from there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know if that's my leadership wheelhouse per se.
No,
right. Good. And so right now that impact is there, and then even not even doing that, but helping other leaders to make the impact that I feel like I'm having at their institution, right? Like helping people to create their vision, to create their direction, to create that system that says, here's the constraints I'm working with, but here's where I want my kids to go. Now let's develop this out, right? And so, and that's where I feel like a lot of people and a lot of administrators who are currently getting in the game, they're getting into it, I don't think for the right reason. I think you can either get into it thinking for a salary, or you can get into it for an impact.
Oh, that's powerful.
If you are trying to get into it for a salary, it's not going to last long.
Sure.
Because yes, that next level pay is nice.
Yeah.
But that's not longevity, right? Sure. Longevity is the impact that you have, because there's so many other fires and hurdles that you have to remind yourself, this is an impact game, a seed game, and not a salary. Yes, you still need to provide for your family. Sure. Yeah. You still got to do all those things. But there's other things there's other fields that you can go into that make that salary that you don't have to worry about the impact you have, because this is directly impacting people's future. And if you can't see people beyond where they are now to where they can be, then that's a tough road as a leader.
No, that's fair. You're right. And it can't be just about the money. And while you were talking, I was like, man, I definitely didn't get in it for the money, because I started back in 94, man. I didn't even make $20,000 a year. So clearly was not about the money. Right? Like you said, it was about making that impact on young people's lives. And I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. And I'm also a big believer that if you do it for the right reasons, the money will take care of itself.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, you couldn't have told me back in 94 that I would be making the kind of salary I'm making in 2023. So, the money has come, and so.
Yep. And when kids talk about that, I told my student, one student was talking about education and I'm talking, like, I started the thing trying to recruit more educators, leaders of color into the field. And I was like, man, teachers don't make enough. And I said, let me open my window. Do you see a hoopty out there? Do you see that? Like, so, right, like, when you're talking about money, like, what do you mean? Because and so the redefinition of what that is, like, I feel like the stigma and the picture of an educator and salary and all that, because we advocate for ourselves, because our salary is based off of someone else's definition of our value and not our own. Sure. There's this picture of educator salary and what educator is.
That's true.
Mind you, we don't get paid, I think, the level that we should. However, the value of the work that we do and that we do get, right? Like, so there's that balance. There's that game that has to be played where we need to advocate for ourselves, because politicians and community people set our salary, right? We don't get to negotiate our own salary, right? Teachers, a lot of times, for collective bargaining. So it's like, man, how do we show them that we need more, right? And so it's
Yeah.
just an image game that is a continued battle that is out there. So
you are so right. You are so right. Now I know you have an amazing podcast, and kudos to you for inviting me to be on your show.
appreciate it.
Definitely enjoyed that. That was really cool. So tell us more about your podcast, why you started it, how it's doing, all that great stuff.
Yeah, man. So the podcast is called Be The Thermostat because a part of my belief is being the thermostat and not the thermometer.
Love it.
Being one who sets the temperature and not just reflects it. And it actually came from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In one of his speeches, he was talking about the church and the church being the thermostat and not the thermometer that reflects the morals and the values of society, but sets it, right? And we don't react to the world. We want the world to react to us. And I'm like, oh, this is good stuff, right?
That's deep.
This is preacher, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what I believe as an educator. Like as a teacher, I was like, I didn't care if you liked math coming in. I wanted my culture to be such that it didn't matter what I was teaching. You enjoy just learning.
Yes.
And so that's my goal of education, right? And I'm like, but it's not just mine. There are people that are out there that are doing the impossible with the impossible, right? Like that are setting these amazing achievements and doing amazing things with kids, for kids, because of kids.
Sure.
And we need that notion out there. So I need people to hear this. I want people to understand what it means to be a thermostat leader and people that are being the thermostat, and that guess what? There's enough room for us all to be the thermostat. There's enough room out there for us all to eat at the table, for us all to be a part of that. And we only get better if we learn and grow from each other.
That's so true.
And so that's my goal, is being inspirational, motivational, and growth mindset.
Love it. How long have you had your show going on?
So I started dabbling in it in 2020, just here or there.
Okay.
And it was releasing Bowtie Tuesday tips. So I would do a Bowtie Tuesday tip every so often. On Tuesdays, I rock a bow tie.
Okay.
I have students that wear bow ties also. And so it became like this thing. And so I'm like, I have these Bowtie Tuesday tips. Like, it's just general motivational, everyone, no matter who you are, can take from, right?
Right.
Just try to pour into people. And then as I've gotten more into understanding that, like, hey, people need seeds planted too. Adults, leaders need seeds planted too. I started in 2021, the fall of 21 into last year, doing and getting guests on slowly but surely. And so trying to catch more steam and more weight in the midst of everything else. Yeah. But it's just been nice. It actually launched after being on other people's shows.
Okay.
And doing that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this, I enjoy this.
Yeah.
I enjoy this conversation.
Yeah.
I enjoy meeting other people, because as much as I'm learning and having them tell other people, I'm taking notes as well. As you know, when we were on our show, I was like, wait a minute, like this is good stuff. I want to talk to this afterwards. But
yeah.
Because I mean, that's what I feel like we need to do.
That's real.
So, yeah. Which has opened up lots of doors.
We're definitely kindred spirits in that regard. And that's why I started my show. I just wanted to highlight those amazing educators that were doing great things out there. And I'm just happy to have you on the show to highlight that as well. Because you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. How many episodes have you had so far?
So far in total with my Bowtie Tuesday and Thermostat. So I did a season 1. So last year was season 1, like previous year, season 1. And I think I did 13 last year, like 2001, like that. And like, I think I'm at 8 from like the start of this school year, like this past summer to summer. So I kind of like relaunch every summer, like add a little different piece or a little flair to it. And so it's been real nice. I've been trying to reach out to people that truly are, mover shakers, and some that people know, some that people don't know. Yeah. I'm doing a more concerted effort now to highlight people in Illinois. Okay. Because I feel like there's a lot of great things that, I think every person in every state could say that, but like our state is so diverse and different, from Chicago down to Cairo, like people, when I tell people I'm from Illinois, they're like, oh, Chicago. And I'm like,
there's more than
I rep the Loop more than I rep the Chi, because I'm like right across the river. So I'm more a St. Louis person than I'm a Chicago person.
That's fair.
But like it's so vast and different, like even to our state code, like our school code, there's like the teacher retirement for the state of Illinois, and then there's a retirement for Chicago public school system.
Are you serious?
I kid you not, right?
Wow. That's really, you know what? It's the same in Missouri. I don't know if you're aware of that, but you have a teacher retirement for the entire state of Missouri, and Kansas City and St. Louis have their own separate retirement system.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know. I thought Missouri was the only one like that, but that makes sense with a big city like Chicago.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, look, I'm looking at your sign back there. Is there a story behind that? I love it.
Yeah. So this sign here was made for me when I was a teacher.
Okay.
It was a piece of graphic art from one of my students who didn't do it in art class, Toby LaBelle. It was my boy. Like, we really connected, and he made me this. And so, like, I photocopied it and had it like on my plan book and on my board. And so it's on everything. It's all on that good stuff. I actually have it right now where I'm trying to make it a custom shirt.
Oh, that's what's up. Like, that's really cool. That's
anytime I can highlight the work of my students or kids or anything, like, man, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's amazing, like, the different paths that cross. This past Christmas was like that connection moment where a lot of former students that I taught, like, reached back out. And it was amazing. It was like one or two, and then it was like a ripple effect of like stories and impact and thanking me, and like it was one of those moments where my wife was like, hey, remember you always say like God things, and like he always affirms that you're done. As you're sitting here like, hey, what's next? He's telling you, no, stay planted. You're where you're supposed to be. This is the impact that you're having. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was really amazing. It was really amazing. And I was sitting here like trying to write a book, right? Like, I'm sitting here typing, and I get this message from one of my former students. And then it was like the next day I got 2 more messages, and like, she was like, you're where you're supposed to be. Like, just so you know, if you ever wonder, you're where you're supposed to be. This is the affirmation, the confirmation. And I'm like, absolutely.
100%. Those are priceless. I mean, you can't even put a dollar amount on those.
Right.
When you reconnect with your students like that, it's just so priceless. And then they'll start sharing stories with you, and you'd be like, right. You don't even remember it, but it had a profound impact on their lives.
Absolutely.
So that's really cool. Well, Dr. Young, I want to thank you so much for coming on the My K-12 Career Show to just share your story, your heart, your vision for what you're doing, with your school and with your school district. But before you leave, could you please leave us with some parting words of wisdom? Tell us how we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Absolutely. So what I always like to remind people is you have to do the things that other people may not think to do to get the results that other people are not able to get. Don't be afraid to be the thermostat, because you are the thermostat and not the thermometer. So I'm on all major social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Tron to Teach for You. Tron, the number 2, the word teach, the number 4, and the letter U. On there, on LinkedIn, Dr. Tron Young, Facebook, Dr. Tron Young. Reach out, YouTube. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you, help your school, help your district. Got a conference, you need somebody that's motivating, inspiring, keynoting. Hit me up, let me know.
That's what's up. We'll make sure to put all of that in the show notes. And what if somebody wants to get on your show? You want them to hit you up as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm on all major platforms. So please, Apple, Spotify, anyone that you want to be on, I'm on there. You can go to actually tronyoung.com. So go to tronyoung.com. All that is all there on there. Reach out to me, definitely.
Awesome. We'll put all that in the show notes, and we'll make sure that everybody can reach out to you that wants to reach out to you. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have some people reach out to you from seeing this show. So again, my brother, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. We will be connecting and communicating, but definitely wish you all the best, my brother. And thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, my brother. Take care.